There's a lot to tell you about, so here's Jared with the Spring Tour Wrap-Up.
Last month we took you on the first half of the 9-state, 16-show spring tour, including a chaotic night of violence in Pittsburgh, where 2 police officers were charged with using excessive force. To recap the incident, George Trotsky, the officer who threw this punch, was found not guilty by a unanimous decision of a police trial board. In a separate incident, Sergeant David Allman is currently awaiting trial for his involvement in a kicking incident. Meanwhile, after a hectic weekend traveling through 2 states, Deadheads settled in for the longest stop on the tour, a 3-day midweek run at the Rosemont Horizon near Chicago. Unlike previous cities on the tour, officials in Rosemont were well organized and ready for the Deadheads. Police kept a high profile, vigorously enforcing all laws and actively confiscating merchandise which violated Grateful Dead copyrights. Security officers closed down the vending area and cleared non-camping parking lots shortly after each show. Many tardy Deadheads returned from the show to find that their vehicles had been towed. Musically, these were some of the hottest shows on the tour. The band set the crowd off immediately by opening the first show with a 12-minute shakedown street and 3 new songs: Bob's Victim or the Crime, Jerry's Built to Last, and Brent's We Can Run. The surprise second set opener of Samson and Delilah, combined with Crazy Fingers and a high-energy playing in the band, set the stage for a well-received Standing on the Moon after drums. Wednesday's Touch of Grey, Truckin', and an elusive Smokestack Lightning Spoonful Back into Smokestack made for a memorable second set. While tickets were plentiful for the first 2 shows at Rosemont, Thursday night's performance was sold out. Inside, Deadheads were treated to the first ever threesome of Foolish Heart, Looks Like Rain, and Eyes of the World to open the second set. Going Down the Road, Feelin' Bad, and Good Lovin' closed the second set, putting many tour heads in the right frame of mind for the 90-minute trek to Milwaukee. Located downtown, the Mecca Auditorium was an intimate setting for the Dead's first Milwaukee appearance in almost a decade. Tickets were scarce and energy levels high. Police closed off the street in front of the Mecca, providing Deadheads with ample room to hang out. Downtown hotels were packed as the urban setting provided no camping or central parking facilities. Vending, while prohibited within 500 feet of the Mecca complex, was allowed on the streets of Milwaukee with the necessary license. Several vendor villages sprang up in the downtown parking lots, and police responded quickly. Vendors with the necessary licenses were allowed to vend freely, but many caught without credentials were arrested and taken to jail. Police spent a busy weekend confiscating merchandise. The band's performances, along with an antique air conditioning system, made things inside the Mecca hot. Saturday's Mississippi Half-Step, Feels Like a Stranger, Franklin's Tower combination was a rocking start for the first set, which featured a powerful blowaway. Sunday's show featured They Love Each Other, and making a rare appearance in the second set was Saint of Circumstance, not performed since October in Miami. The final stop on the road to California was a one-night stand at the Met Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. With no day off between shows and a 7-hour road trip from Milwaukee, Deadheads had little impact on the Minneapolis community. The sun was shining as Deadheads transformed the parking lot into the familiar vendor village. Also familiar to many Deadheads on tour was this group of pushcart vendors. Traveling in a rented truck carrying several shish kebab carts, these vendors sold at every venue but never went inside to see the band. Friction developed, and these vendors clashed with the more traditional Deadhead vendors who were selling their shish kebabs for less. Police seemed almost non-existent as Deadheads enjoyed a mellow scene. Tickets were on sale at the box office, which meant everyone got in to dance to the Iko Iko opener. Making a first set appearance was Built to Last, followed by Bobby's Victim or the Crime. The surprise Bertha to close the first set made for a lively break. At the top of the second set, the band went immediately into a forceful Cold Rain and Snow. After a moment of confusion, Bobby moved into Samson and Delilah, followed by Crazy Fingers and Estimated Eyes. During Space, Jerry noodled with a new MIDI guitar, switching back to his usual acts for the wheel. And with the encore of Knockin' on Heaven's Door, this spring tour was history, just like so many times before. This initial tour of 1989 allowed the Dead to shake down some of their new material, and the appearance of Built to Last 5 times prompted some Deadheads to dub this the Built to Last Tour. I'm Jared with the 1989 Grateful Dead Spring Tour Wrap-Up.